You promised yourself you would stop, so you put the phone away, closed the drawer, and believed the decision was finally settled. Then the cue appeared. Before you fully noticed it, your head turned, your shoulders followed, and your hand began moving on its own. By the time awareness arrived, the drawer was open and the phone was already in your hand. The action had started before the decision. A quick check became another scroll, then another. The room changed, the clock moved, and a few minutes quietly became an hour. By morning, the same pattern returned in a different form. The alarm sounded, and your hand pressed snooze before you were fully awake. Later, stress found another opening. A familiar object offered something the tired brain wanted immediately. Comfort without effort, and relief without delay. The reward was not huge. It was simply fast. And because the tension dropped quickly, the brain marked the routine as useful. Then difficulty appeared. The task felt heavy, the mind tightened, and the phone became more attractive because it offered an easier escape. The escape felt brief, but time kept moving. When attention returned, the task was still there, and the lost minutes had multiplied. Bedroom, kitchen, study desk. The situations looked different, yet the same pattern repeated across the day in places you barely noticed. A time, an object, a feeling, or a location acted as the starting signal. Different triggers, but the same hidden structure. That structure is the habit loop. A cue begins the routine produces a reward, and the reward teaches the brain to repeat. Each repetition makes the route easier to follow. What once required a choice slowly becomes a response the body can perform automatically. To understand the habit, follow it backward. Move past the reward, past the routine, and look for the first signal that started everything. When the cue appears again, awareness creates a tiny pause. The habit is still present, but for the first time, it becomes visible. Seeing the cue matters, but awareness is not the finish line. The old response remains practiced, fast, and ready to begin again. The moment the cue returns, the learned pull returns with it. You can step away, yet part of you still leans toward the routine. That pull was built through repetition. Every earlier response added another strand, strengthening the connection between the cue and the familiar action. So you try to overpower it. You grip the urge, resist harder, and expect determination alone to make the connection disappear. But the brain sees two rewards, one close and immediate, the other distant and delayed. Progress waits. Relief is available now. Stress makes that difference feel even larger. The long-term goal becomes harder to see, while the nearby reward grows brighter and easier. Willpower can block the urge for a while. You hold the line, protect the decision, and keep the old response from reaching you. But resistance has to be rebuilt every time. As the day continues, attention weakens, stress accumulates, and the shield becomes smaller. And there is rarely only one cue. Time, place, emotion, objects, and routine can all trigger the same habit from different directions. Remove one trigger, and another may appear. Without changing the wider system, you spend the day chasing cues after they have already activated. The old habit is like an automatic door. It opens with almost no effort, while the new response still requires several deliberate steps. Even when you choose the harder path, the environment may keep carrying you toward the familiar one because it is faster and easier. The old reward arrives, and the body relaxes for a moment. Then the relief fades, leaving the same disappointment you already know. This is why fighting the habit only at the final moment often fails. You are blocking the flow after the system is already moving. To change the result, move upstream. Find where the environment, the cue, and the expected reward begin feeding the old response. Start before temptation. Move the trigger away, increase the distance, and make the old routine harder to begin without a deliberate choice. Friction can be simple: a closed box, a high shelf, another room, or several extra steps between the cue and the behavior. When your hand reaches for the usual reward and finds empty space, the automatic sequence is interrupted. That empty space creates time. Do not rush to fill the pause. Breathe once, notice the urge, and let awareness catch up with the movement already beginning. Then make the replacement small. Do not defeat the entire task. Choose one clear action that feels easy enough to start now. Completing that small action gives the brain a new reward, progress, relief, and proof that the difficult moment can end differently. The goal is not to erase the cue. It is to redirect what happens next, connecting the same trigger to a better response. At first, the new sequence feels slow, but each pause, each small action, and each completion makes the replacement easier to repeat. The old habit does not disappear immediately. It may still call from a distance, especially when the cue is familiar and strong. Prepare a replacement for stressful moments. Breathe, stand, stretch, walk briefly, or reset. Then return instead of escaping for the rest of the day. The replacement works when it brings you back. Relief should help you continue, not quietly carry you away from what matters. Even with a better system, a lapse can happen. Stress may rise, the old choice may return, and disappointment may follow. One lapse does not erase the new learning. Put the system back in place, make the next action small, and return. Small repetitions become structure. Each completed action adds another step, until the new response begins supporting you with less effort.
Why does that spark never remain constant? Lasting behavior cannot depend on it.
You do not break a habit by waiting to feel stronger. You change the system, notice the cue, add friction, and make the better response easier to repeat. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Beyond the Lines for more stories about how your mind really works.